What's up, guys? Welcome back to another Odd Popcorn for That review. I'm Chris,
I'm Nick.
and today we're talking about Megalopolis.
Enjoy the show.
1, 2, 3. Yippee yay.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby.
This is the newest film from Francis Ford Coppola. It's largely self-funded by Francis Ford Coppola. It's been his passion project for a long time, and we've been hearing about it for a long time and wanted to see it, but we've been, at least on my account, I think on yours too, narrowly avoiding any kind of spoiler, and I didn't really know a whole lot about the plot. So what is this movie about?
Genius artist Caesar Catalina seeks to leap the city of New Rome into a utopian, idealistic future, while his opposition, Mayor Franklin Cicero, remains committed to a regressive status quo, perpetuating greed, special interests, and partisan warfare. Torn between them is socialite Julia Cicero, the mayor's daughter, whose love for Caesar has divided her loyalties, forcing her to discover what she truly believes humanity deserves.
You know, a movie this complex probably does need a pretty long description like that, but
Right.
this is a little bit complicated, and I had a little bit.
Is it?
There were some moments that I had a little bit of a hard time understanding what all is going on. What was your takeaway from this? I got a lot of thoughts, but what do you like this movie? Would you recommend it? Did you hate it? Are you trying to figure out where you're at?
I didn't like it. I thought it was super boring. Like, I get the point. I get it. The point's pretty straightforward. It's kind of the fall of Rome, how it mirrors modern political climates and everything as well, it seems like, and how you should create a better future for people, which, it's not a bad message or anything, but it's just, man, is that a boring movie.
This is wild, man. And it's not just boring. It's like it's an extremely unique type of bad movie. So like you said, like, I get the message, but man, have you ever seen anything quite like this? This is like real out there. Like, to me, it reminded me of like the beginning parts. If you've ever seen Moulin Rouge, it's like the beginning parts of Moulin Rouge on like horse tranquilizer or something like that. Like, this is just there's moments in this that are the editing is so jarring and so frantic and so hard to latch on to anything real. And I know some of the time they were trying to make you feel like you're on drugs like the guy in the movie is, but some of the time it was just like not accomplishing anything, and I couldn't figure out what the point of a lot of this. It feels like a lot of style over substance to me in this case. Like, this feels like a very pretentious,
You're pretentious!
smug movie that thinks it's very important.
Insists upon itself. It insists upon itself. The Godfather insists upon itself. It insists upon itself.
And it's going to change
Yeah,
the world.
like, it's going to change. That's kind of like what I felt too, and I was like, all right, cool, I see the points you're making. They're not wrong, but also, like, you're not doing anything to change it. You're just showing what everybody already knows, I guess. Not everybody, I mean, but still.
Right. Yeah, I mean, so let's get into spoilers. That's a no for both of us for recommendation.
Yeah.
If you don't want to know about it and you want to experience it on your own, I can get that, even if you're not gonna like it. But this is wild, and it's a little hard to do for me. Hard time sitting in the theater for this long watching this.
Yep.
So spoilers from here on out. But there's actors in this that I like, but they're not giving me performances that I like.
Yeah.
The dialogue is not good.
Yeah.
There's visual things here and there, but fewer and further between than I wanted. But there's visual things here and there that are interesting and cool to look at, but they're inside of a movie that I couldn't get behind. So my highest highs, it was just like, yeah, I wish this was in something else, or I wish I could just watch an isolated short thing that's just this.
Right.
The statues moving, things like that. I thought that was some kind of cool imagery, like the statues crumbling and stuff like that. But then they had to double down and explain to you what that's a metaphor for. Like, you literally see a statue of justice
falling down, and
yeah, and then like you literally hear voiceover of somebody talking in the movie saying like justice crumbles in the streets or something, and I was like, yeah, wouldn't that have worked better?
They gotta spoon feed it to you while they're
I don't know. It was just like every message was very heavy-handed. Every the dialogue, it just is very stilted and felt weird. It felt like it not natural at all. And I guess you could say like, oh well, it's an alternate universe or a future world, or you shouldn't relate to how they talk. But well, whatever. I mean, it didn't make me like. I didn't feel like I could latch on to anybody. I didn't feel emotionally invested in any character. I'm not even sure at times if I was sure if Caesar was supposed to be, if Caesar Catalina was supposed to be a good character or a bad one. I'm not sure who's good.
You know, one thing it kind of like I thought of watching this movie is it kind of reminded me of the Romeo and Juliet remake with Leonardo DiCaprio.
Courage, man. The hurt cannot be much.
I was like, oh, it's just like a weird version of a Shakespearean play in modern times.
Yeah, because it is based on something from, like, maybe it's a real story. I meant to look this up, but it's something from, like the actual time period with these names.
Yeah.
So I mean, it is it's just that story set in like future New York, I guess, or whatever.
No, it's New Rome, which I was confused about because like the cop cars say New Rome and all this stuff, but then at one point you see NYSE for the New York Stock Exchange, but then they always, I don't know, man, it's weird.
And it did say New York on license plates and things.
Yeah,
so
it said Empire State. It was strange.
There's things that, like, on paper, if you explain this to me, I'm like, yeah, I'm still in, dude. That sounds cool. Like New Rome and like the costume design sometimes was cool. Like sometimes it wasn't that great, but sometimes it was cool. Like the Giancarlo Esposito's, like, instead of a tie, he had like that gold. Like fig leaves or whatever it is.
Well, like
gold.
the 3-piece suit, instead of being like a normal vest, was like a toga thing coming across underneath the jacket.
And the women look like it's reference to so a lot of that wardrobe stuff was cool. A lot of the visuals are cool. And then the idea is Caesar is butting heads with Cicero, the current like governor, I guess, and he's like in charge of like city design and architecture and things like that. And he's got this plan for a utopia that he reveals to everyone, but he doesn't really reveal it. And then when we first see it in the movie, we got to talk about that. Because when we first see it in the movie, he's like he takes Natalie Emmanuel from Game of Thrones. I'll put up a picture. But he takes Natalie Emmanuel and shows her a bunch of like trash, like an old water bottle and like a traffic cone and a bunch of garbage. And he's like, okay, now close your eyes and walk through this and see what you see. And she's like, what? I can't see with my eyes closed. And then she walks and she sees this like amazing utopian world. But it looks kind of like
it's like natural, like if it would evolved over time type of thing, organic, yeah.
But that first time we see it, I thought it kind of looked like AI generated video of like a utopian city with organic shapes and no square. You know what I mean? Like it looked very rushed to me.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm not sure. I don't think I'm ever going to get an explanation as to how she saw all that with her eyes. Like he imbued that matter with the ability to reveal all this to her, and he's made this new material that it was like unobtainium to me. I kept thinking about unobtainium. I guess it's called megalon or something. But I feel like we didn't get enough information about that.
Like his mom or somebody briefly talks about string theory in 11 different dimensions, and it's like this seems like something that maybe came from another dimension, but they don't give you much information on it. And
when you see it, sometimes it's goofy.
It doesn't look good every time you see it in the CGI. It looks bad. Other than like the set design was really good, but the CGI for the movie was not.
Is often pretty bad. Yeah. And like people are asked to do. It's like nobody's face is ever like Adam Driver's face is always contorted in some kind of weird way, and Jon Voight's face is always looking weird. And the whole thing with Shia LaBeouf is always very weird. Shia LaBeouf's whole character is very strange, and I like strange, but not this. I don't like this. It was like this is one of like the worst things I've seen Shia LaBeouf in, and I know like Jason Schwartzman has nothing to do in this at all.
Oh yeah, he had like a handful of lines.
Lawrence Fishburne doesn't really have much to do except he's the narrator, and he's good at narrating. Like he was like not offensive to me in this movie. He's still acting.
Yeah.
But most people just aren't given their best stuff. And then we get Dustin Hoffman, and it's like the first time he's been in a movie in years and years and years. You would change nothing by taking Dustin Hoffman out of this movie.
Because anything that potentially did happen important with him happened off screen.
And Giancarlo Esposito in this, like, he often plays a really convincing villain. I think he's great on Breaking Bad. You know, he plays that villain role well. But in this, it was like a little confusing. It's like, you seem like kind of a softy grandpa, dude. I'm not sure. I'm convinced that you're really that big a threat to the world.
Maybe he was just supposed to be the character who's like set in his ways and thinks he's doing good, but really he's not. Whereas Caesar is coming in with innovative ideas and trying to actually help people. Maybe.
And dude, Shia LaBeouf's character, the whole, like, everywhere he moves for the whole beginning of the movie, he's just he can't stop himself, and there's a lot of incest and stuff. I was just like, God, this character is grating on me. And then by the end of it, like you said, the message behind the whole thing is so heavy-handed. It's like he's literally quoting, like, if we don't go in there and fight like hell, we're going to lose our city. Yeah. And I was like, well, that's very heavy-handed. Like, that's the heavy-handedest thing I've seen this year, you know?
It's pretty overt throughout the movie, and at the end of the movie, they kind of explain it to you one last final time before it ends.
Did you get it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And to me, I just felt like I said, it all sounds so good on paper, but it's like, at the end of the movie, so I didn't enjoy my experience watching it, and then at the end of the movie, it's like, what did we learn? Well, we learned that if you invent or discover a new type of material that nobody's ever heard of before that will be not very well explained to any of us, then you could build a city that looks like mushrooms and plants, and then everyone will be happy and all crime will stop, and everything bad will cease, and all good things from here on out, as long as the sidewalks walk for you and the things look like mushrooms and things fold up on themselves, no more sin or crime.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, good message, utopia. But this movie's not changing a fucking thing, that's for sure.
It's like, what did he do to change it? He just changed, like, the building material to be kind of sick?
I guess.
That looks cool, but what?
I guess, yeah, because it definitely draws power on the city. There's a point, because it's not, like, free. There was a point where there was, like, alarms going off, and Shia LaBeouf's character was like, oh, it's his Megalon drawing power. It's like, okay, so it's not like an infinitely sourced power either.
And I didn't feel any chemistry between. I'm sorry, I didn't feel any chemistry between Natalie Emmanuel and Adam Driver's characters. And you're supposed to feel something there, and I did not.
Right.
And then there's the only scene that, like, really shocked me was when the little kid, big spoiler, when the little kid shoots Adam Driver's character Caesar in the face. But then he's not dead. He just heals himself with this mystery magical substance, and it just means we get a lot of bad CGI on Adam Driver's face for a long time.
Yeah.
And then he looks normal again, and he gives a big speech. But, like, most of the speeches sound like they're coming from something that already exists, like Shakespeare or some.
I think they are. They're probably a lot of, like, Roman, like, they quote Marcus Aurelius a bunch at one point of the movie, so there's probably a lot of other, like, philosophers in there and stuff that they're just pulling directly from.
Yeah, I found myself thinking, it's funny that you mentioned Romeo plus Juliet or whatever, because I found myself thinking of that and, like, Moulin Rouge with all the circus-y craziness that felt out of place. What was the deal with the Grace VanderWaal character? If you don't know who that is, she won, like, X Factor or American Idol or The Voice or something a decade ago or something like that, playing the ukulele and wrote a little song, and she won the whole show and won a bunch of money, and then she's like a current pop singer now. But I don't understand. It was like, she's a virgin and we got a bid on the virgin for her purity, and then she's gonna get up on a metal moon.
I don't know. Like, maybe she's the guiding light of the city of purity, and then she's not pure. Maybe, I don't know.
And somebody makes, like, an AI video of Caesar having sex with her, and that's, like, ruins her career, and now she's, like, pulls a JoJo Siwa, and she's like a bad girl now for 12 seconds.
Right, yeah.
I was like, that moment of the movie where she's like, I'm a bad girl now, or whatever she says, like,
I forgot about that shit.
Yeah, I don't know. It was just like, that was ridiculous. Like, that could have been the moment I walked out of the movie, and I guess I'm glad I finished it for the sake of it's certainly a conversation piece, but I could have walked out.
If we weren't talking about it, I would have walked out for sure.
It's pretty rough watching. Like, that's probably the most I've, like, looked at my phone in a movie theater in a long time. Like, where I'm like, oh, okay,
what time
I know it ends
it?
Yeah, I know it ends at 3, so okay, we're at 2:40. God bless. 20 more minutes of this.
Yeah, dude. I looked at I was the same way. I was like, I might just take a nap and then he'll have to explain some things. I don't know.
It's just so it's edited in a way that makes you feel like you're not coherent, like you're on drugs. You're trying to piece together a weird, otherwise simple puzzle, but it's like you're sleepy and you just took a bunch of like cough medicine and blindfolded and I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just delirious for no reason. Yeah. I could say more, but I'll stop myself there. You got anything else?
Nah, I think I covered what I was gonna say.
Good Lord have mercy. What an unbelievably bizarre. I wish it was unbelievably good bizarre.
Yeah.
It could have been, but it was not. So what? I don't know how to score this, man. What do you score? What do you score that?
I didn't enjoy it or anything, so like it was pretty, but I didn't want to be there. So 2.
There's like cool stuff in it, but it's just not. It's like, well, you wasted cool stuff
what?
on a bad movie. Then
I'll go up to a 3 because Aubrey Plaza, specifically just because of like the scene where she's in like the black negligee.
Yeah, I mean, okay, that's another person. She was pretty good on it with what she was given.
Yeah, I think she was pretty good.
Dialogue's real weird, so she's really having to paddle upstream to make this work. But she did all right at that. So yeah, I'll go 3.5. I can't believe it. There's so much bad in here, but there's things that bring it up. It's not the worst thing I've seen this year, but wow, tough, struggle to watch. I might rethink that. No. Yeah, I'll go with you. It's a 3. It's a 3.
Okay, nice.
It's pretty bad. All right. Well, thank you guys for watching. We hope you liked watching us talk about that more than we liked watching it.
Yeah.
And you know, we'll go watch the movie and form your own opinion if you want, but there's a lot of other things to watch that I think I'd recommend before this. Mm-hmm. So, unfortunately, the guy who directed The Godfather, he's kind of lost his way.
Well, I wasn't going to say it, but I think The Godfather is extremely boring as well.
I did not care for The Godfather.
What?
Did not care for The Godfather.
Oh, well, there you go. He said it.
Okay.
He said it anyway. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next one.
See ya.